What's happening, people? Welcome to Music Monday. Music Monday it is, and we are finishing up the Ghost Dance record. We're on the last track on that album. It was our fourth studio record, and it's a tune I wrote a long time ago called Little Piece of Mind. Man, there's so much cool stuff about this song. First of all, this is probably one of the first 5 songs I ever wrote in my career, and I can remember a lot about this one. But let's back up to that record. This came out on our first Rockefeller record that we cut at John Keane's studio, and I think that had to be around 1989 that came out. This song was on that album. So the version you hear on Ghost Dance is the exact same version we recorded at Keane's. We didn't change anything on it. We only made 1,000 of those Rockefeller CDs, and then we changed the name to Coyote in 1990. And this was one of those songs we thought was just going to get forgotten and never heard again. So we stuck it on the end of that Coyote record, just so it didn't get lost. The guy playing fiddle on it that you hear was a young kid out of Athens that John Keane knew. His name was Andy Carlson. And man, he was like a state champ fiddle player. He came in and played all that fiddle part on it. Was outstanding. Other guest player on it was our guitar builder and guitar repair guy over in Jackson, Griffin, Georgia, a guy named Tom Dodson, who y'all know a lot about. I've had videos of him and stuff. He's built my Gidjo, built both of my electrics. Tom Dodson, a great guitar player, played that Nashville finger picking style. He did all that guitar work and solo in the middle. That's Tom playing that. I don't think Keane played anything on this, so just Tom and Andy on this one. The original Rockefeller guys, that was John Felty, me and Ned Grubb, Matt Trevitt on drums. All right, so that's the background of where we cut it, and it's the same version, and so you got a little more info on that. But what's this song about? So let's just back up. All right, we were living at the barn, Trevitt's family place up there in Forsyth, which was just north of Macon, about 15, 20 miles out in the country. His family had a 600-acre farm out there. And behind the old family farmhouse, they had a milk barn they had converted into an apartment for his brothers while they were in school at Mercer. And it was pretty rough, man. It was a rough place, but they let us live there for free. It had a big open room in the middle of it. We could keep all the band stuff set up there and practice. And that's what we did. I remember one morning I went in the kind of indoor-outdoor shower we had there, and there was a water moccasin in the shower. Not a water snake, moccasin. I'm like, all right, man, you can go first. I'll wait till you get out. But this whole song is about that time when we were living at the barn. And Matt Trevitt, our first drummer, had a heart condition called WPW syndrome, where he had to go to Emory and have open heart surgery and fix that. Which he did. So I wrote this song about that whole time, kind of when Matt went in for that heart surgery, because it really did kind of throw a curveball in the whole thing when you're young. You're like, wow, man, that's kind of big. You never know how something like that can go. So we were all looking for a little peace of mind through it. This song is all real. It's all about that time when we first got out of college. Days go by, feelings for moving get stronger. We wanted to go out and see the world. We wanted to travel around. We wanted to go have some fun. We wanted to see what was out there. And then that's what is it we leave behind? Just a fear of something we may be losing. What that part's about, we were all passing up family businesses. We were not doing the things that we thought we'd do when we got out of college, going into the business world, going overseas and playing pro basketball. We had all these things we thought we were going to do, and none of it ended up happening. So that's kind of what that first verse is about. Second verse is funny. Fender on my van still ain't painted. All this happened. We were loading up to go to our first gig in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was one of our very first ones. It's the Rockefellers. We're playing something for Baylor School in Chattanooga outside on some owl's porch. We played with a band called Cheese and the Meats. I remember that, which was kind of a funny name. And Felty had gone in town to Forsyth, because I told you we lived out in the country on a 600-acre farm where we wouldn't bother anyone, which was probably good. So he's coming back at 10:30 in the morning from downtown. The day we're leaving. A deer runs across the road, which is odd for that time of day, smacks the front right panel of my van, knocks the light out, crunches the fender in, the whole 9 yards. Killed the deer, I'm sure. We had to go to Chattanooga and play that day. Luckily, I guess we stayed the night. We didn't come back with one headlight, but I didn't get it fixed for, weeks. And when I finally found a part for it in the junkyard, it didn't match the rest of the van. It fit, but it wasn't the same color. Never painted it, never did anything, just left it. We were broke. Didn't have any money. I was lucky to have enough money to fix it. So that's what says fender on my van. Still ain't painted, but let's load up and limp on down the road, which is exactly what we were doing. And it says places to make a stop ain't found easy, but there's one more out there waiting for me. I know that's true. This is when we first started the band. Getting gigs was hard. You know, no one knew who we were. No one was going to book us. We weren't worth a hoot. So, I mean, we weren't very good. So, yeah. So, no one was going to book us. Which reminds me of a funny story I got to tell you right quick. Trevitz, one of Trevitz fraternity brothers, social chair, KA at Mercer, we got him to call up one of those college booking agencies that book the bands and book a fake gig for the KAs asking for us. And it was a show that never happened, but it did get the agency off their, it put us on their radar. Like, who's this Rockville band we keep hearing about? So they ended up signing us on the contract and putting us on the college circuit and gave us a ton of work. And that's kind of how this whole thing took off. And it was all from Trevitz's buddy, fraternity brother, booking a fake gig, kind of got the whole thing started. So people would inquire about us, at least. That's kind of how we broke in. So back to this song, it's about all the stuff that hits you in life and trying to navigate your way through it and just find a little bit of peace of mind in it as best you can, because we all have our cross to bear. We all have burdens, and stuff's going to come up in life and it's going to knock you on your tail. And sometimes you just got to take a deep breath, just relax, and get yourself through it as best you can. So that's what we got in the skillet today, a cool old country tune I wrote called Little Piece of Mind. Felty sings it. I always tried to pick out a couple per record that he would sing, and he sounds good on this one. Chords, look, this one's in standard tune. It's really easy to play. It's got a bunch of turns and chords in it, so if you want me to learn it, just join my Patreon membership and I'll show you, because there's actually more to this than you think, and it's got a B minor in it, G, A, D, yeah, see, it turns more than you think. As I'm playing it, there's a lot more chords in it than you think when you're just listening. So that's a simple song. Yeah, it's simple, but there's a lot in it. So join that. If you haven't, it's actually pretty cool. If you want to learn to play guitar and learn how to play these songs, it's a good place to do it. All right, that's what we got in Skillet. Music Monday, Little Piece of Mind. It's on the Ghost Dance record, so we're done with the Ghost Dance record. We'll be moving on to Lucky Day from here, as we're moving backwards. And follow, share if you never heard it, by all means. And as Paul Harvey would say, now you know the rest of the story. You certainly do.